Okay, so hey, I don't know if this angle is really weird or if it's like, decent, but I guess I'm gonna be filming this angle today. But um I don't know, for this vlog I didn't really have anything in particular that I wanted to speak about or say or anything. I think like life update with me. Yeah, I started watching Insecure and Insecure as well as like knitting, and so my knitting is going along actually. Okay, I was gonna like show you. Actually, I can definitely show you. So I have decided to start knitting, right? Kind of like a stress reliever, and I'm an amateur. Don't get me wrong. I am like not that good. I started 2 days ago, but I think I've come along, and like it's actually not cute. It's so crazy. So I wanted to like knit a scarf, right? I wanted to knit a scarf and I was like, it's gonna be not too long as far as like width is concerned. And so tell me why originally the width of my scarf was supposed to be like from here to here, but I made so many mistakes and I didn't even realize that I was like adding on pieces as I did it. And so it ended up like, because this is where it really was supposed to be, this is where I started, but see how like I started like adding rows and I didn't even know. So I started adding rows and now it doesn't even fit on the stick. It's like literally so long. It's like I'm thinking maybe we could do like a headband or something. I don't even know, but I'm super impressed because now I can't even like, it's gonna take so much more time to knit, but it's literally it's literally gonna take a hot minute. This is gonna take me like 26 years to finish, but this is what I've started, so I'm like super happy. So I've started doing that. I started watching Insecure. I don't know. I think Insecure is a really interesting show as far as like Issa Rae. I think she's just super cute. Like she's super cute and like super quirky and like awkward, and it's like I can like relate to her so much. Like the thing is like I'm awkward. I'm like awkward, socially awkward, but like she's like awkward funny. I wish I was like awkward, cute, funny. Like that'd be cute, but like that's just not me. um but yeah, and like she has her problems. Her friends have so many problems, and like it's a lot. I think like if you watch the show, you should definitely like, like hit in the comment sections or whatever what you really like about it, who your favorite characters are. I'm just, started season 3. I've literally been binge watching, and like I think like it raises up so many questions as far as like, so when you have this question about settling for things and what you might settle for might kind of make you happy versus like going fully into the things you want and like just being able to be confident in your choices and who you are as an individual. I think that's a pretty big topic. You also have another topic as far as um like kind of like um good, like handling breakups and everything, but I wanted to say like good boy bad boy like type thing, like with one of the characters, how it seemed like, oh, this person's like really good, but like, are they though, or are they just someone who uses people by their emotions under the facade of being a good person? um like open relationships, and then and then ones where it's like you're in it with someone you're actually emotionally connected to as well. There's that. There's just a lot of like things that are super interesting. Oh, I think one that's really interesting that maybe I would like to talk about is just like um well, there's a lot. I should like write a list, but I think one that was pretty interesting was just how like racism in the sense of like white people versus black people, and like how easy it is to silence a white person, in the sense of when they do something that's like, I don't know, it's like where it seems like it's they're out of boundary, but then they're not because they're correct. You know what I mean? Like it's weird, and it's um like let's say, like, for an example, and this isn't an example that was based on the film, but just saying, like, you have like white allies, and then they're saying things, or they're doing certain things in like support for black people, and and like there's certain people who would shut them up, in a sense, because it's like, you're not black, where's your boundaries, you're doing too much, and like a black person can't be racist. But then it's like, yeah, in a sense, if you're gonna define, like, and it's interesting because racism, like, as a lot of people like learned it, was just a term that you use to describe like hatred towards a race, but then also just viewing that your race is better. But then somewhat through the years, it seems to change into a topic of like, oh, we it seems to essentially change into the topic of like I don't know, like, what's it called, like it's a power dynamic, right? You can't be racist because it's a power thing, right? It's prejudice plus power, which is not what they taught us up in elementary school, but whatever. And so then you have that dynamic about how black people can't be racist, just racist because they're black. But I think, and that white people can't call black people out on it, because they're white. And I think it's really interesting, in the sense it's like, and I can get where they're coming from that, because I think sometimes, in a good amount of times, white people step out of their boundaries, in a sense. Many times it's happened, but like, even if they have good intentions, but I think at the end of the day too, it's like, can you discredit the truth she's saying just because she's white? Because it's, you know what I mean, it's true at the end of the day. And it's like, when you're calling out racism against a black person, it's like, black people can be very much prejudiced, like like can be very, very, very prejudiced, and like very prejudiced, as much as like any other race. And then with that, and so is it like, because they're black, you can't call them out on their prejudice? And like, I know it's not like, I guess if you're using like technical terms, sure, it's not racism, but that doesn't make it any more okay, just because you're not a group of people with power, in a sense. Because then at that same instant, Asian people are very, 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 very racist, granted not all, but like, there's still like a good amount of, I don't want to say a good amount, but there's still like, a good amount of people within each racial type, and then who are pretty like not racist, but prejudiced against other races. And like, you definitely see that, like, as well as in the Asian community. And you might not necessarily call it racism per se, but then does it not become racist because they don't have the, is it not racism if they do something towards a black person just because they may not necessarily have power per se? It's like, how do you define that? So if like a Hispanic person, Latino person, they're still minorities too. Is it not racist? You know what I mean? Because I don't see power being a big thing like within the Latino community either, and so I mean, granted, there's a good amount of them, like, it's an ethnicity, and there's a good amount of them that are white, so they do have that privilege, but it's like, where do you go from there? Like, I don't know, I'm just interested in everyone's thoughts as far as that. But I think that was something that was kind of raised up, where it's like, you kind of expect better from the black counterparts. And so I don't know, that's just like a little yeah, from Insecure. That went like pretty deep for no reason. And yeah, I think that, but then also like being able to let go. I think what I realized, like, just because you like, well, I realized this before the show, but I feel like the show really like allows you to like really think that, like, hey, if you want something, get what you want. Don't settle. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, in certain things in life, you're gonna have to make compromises. Obviously, you can't get everything you want in life, but I feel like there's certain things that, if they're realistic and they're things that you really think are a priority, like you've reevaluated, you really contemplated, like looked within yourself, and those are things that are really like priority, you should not settle. You know what I mean? Don't settle for less, and like, you know, have like, give yourself more dignity and worth than what you're making it seem. And so it's like, I think a lot of the things, it seems like as though you're not, like the show like kind of like just emphasize that kind of like settling in a sense, whether it's for a person, whether it's for a job, versus getting, you know, your what if I could be with this person, what if I could get this job. It's like, and I think at the end of the day, it's like it's, I mean, you don't, because lots of people settle because it's like you don't want to lose out on something that you have. You don't want to lose on something that you want to have. And so in order to not have anything, you rather have something than to have nothing. But is it worth having something that's not gonna make you fully happy, you know, versus maybe the potentiality, I don't think that's a word, but you know, having the potential of having what you really want and really desire? I don't know. I think that's a question you have to kind of like think. And then also another thing, just because you love someone doesn't mean you need to necessarily have them in your life. Like, yeah, I think that comes up within, you know, the show quite a bit. Just because you love someone or you really fancy someone or just whatnot doesn't necessarily mean they're for you, and doesn't necessarily mean you have to have them in your life. And like, you can still love them, but like, you know, it's also good to just let them be free so that you guys can both, I don't know, it's interesting because you're like, the show is basically like, I think I know what I want, but I don't know if I really want that, and so I'm trying to do all these things to get what I want. But it's like, do I really want that if I was to happen? And it's like, I don't even know what I want. Like, I'm young. Like, you're not gonna get it if you haven't seen the show, but like, if you've seen the show, you probably get what I'm talking about anyway. So yeah, so that was just kind of like that. I don't have too much to say. Yeah, but like, I haven't done any work all day. I've been out on errands, so I'm gonna cut this short. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this short. So just like, tell me your thoughts. If you've watched Insecure, tell me your thoughts about, like, don't spoil season 3 for me. I ain't playing out of those games. I'm not playing any of those games. And put a little spoiler thing before you leave a comment if it's gonna spoil something. But like, let me know how you think about it. Life lessons you've learned. Has anyone knitted yet? Like, I honestly, if you knit, someone tell me like how I can make this go back to the skinny size, because this is actually tragic. Like, I'm not trying to knit so much, you know, like, it's gonna take me forever to do a little scarf. Like, I don't know about all of this mess. Like, someone let me know, and like, yeah, just let me know how you doing in the comments below. Just like how your day is, a TV show that you recommend me watching, maybe PG-13. Like, drop it below. And so yeah, peace. Oh, and if you have really good, I keep on looking here, but I really should be looking here. But if you have really good like lipstick recommendations, let me know. Okay, bye. So OOTD, I'm actually so ugly. I'm so extra, but like, I actually kind of like my outfit. Like, I think it's kind of cute. Maybe at least the guy in the back seems to love it, not this one.